hear us.
Listen. Do you hear that rumbling sound coming from the mountains? Not just thunder, but something deeper that shakes the ground beneath our feet. The dust swirls strange patterns. What if the mountain itself remembers what happened here 3 years ago? 3 years without rain, and now everyone climbs Mount Carmel to witness something impossible. A prophet stands alone against 450 men. Will God's fire prove who speaks truth today? The drought has cracked the earth into 1,000 pieces, turning fields to dust. King Ahab arrives with his soldiers, his face hard as the stones beneath his feet. The religious leaders gather in a great circle, their robes catching the hot desert wind. Elijah walks forward slowly. His voice carries across the mountainside like water breaking through a dam. How long will you waver between two opinions about who to follow? The crowd shifts nervously, looking between the prophet and their religious leaders. The altar of stone stands broken. 12 stones lie scattered across the ground, one for each tribe of Israel. What do you think those 12 stones represent to the people watching? Elijah begins gathering the stones with his weathered hands, building something from the ruins. Each stone he places tells a story of a people who have forgotten their special promise. The religious leaders prepare their offering. They dance and shout from morning until noon, but no fire comes to their altar. Their voices grow hoarse as the sun climbs higher, beating down without mercy. Perhaps your God is sleeping or traveling far away. Elijah's words cut through their desperate cries like a blade through silk. The afternoon shadows begin to stretch. Now Elijah builds his altar with 12 stones, creating a deep trench all around it. He arranges the wood carefully, then places the offering on top of the prepared altar. Fill 4 large jars with water. The people gasp because water is more precious than gold after 3 years of drought. Pour it over the offering and the wood until everything is completely soaked through. They do this 3 times. 12 jars of water flood the altar, filling the trench like a protective moat. The water glistens in the late afternoon sun, impossible to burn. How can fire consume what water has claimed? The crowd presses closer, their eyes wide with a mixture of fear and desperate hope. Elijah steps forward and raises his hands toward the sky that has been empty too long. Lord God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, let it be known today. Let these people know that you are God and that you are turning their hearts back. The air grows perfectly still. Even the wind stops breathing. Then, fire falls from heaven like a waterfall of light, consuming everything it touches. Not just the offering, but the wood, the stones, the dust, and every drop of water. The fire eats the stones themselves. Where the altar stood, only scorched earth remains as proof of what happened here. The people fall on their faces. The Lord, He is God, they cry out together with voices full of wonder. What would you have done if you had seen fire consume solid stone? But the story doesn't end with fire. Elijah tells Ahab to eat and drink, for heavy rain is coming to end the drought. The king looks at the cloudless sky with doubt written across his weathered face. No clouds exist anywhere. Yet Elijah climbs to the top of Mount Carmel and bows down to the ground. He sends his servant to look toward the sea 7 times. 6 times the servant returns. There is nothing but empty sky stretching from here to the endless horizon. What if the answer requires patience even after the miracle? On the 7th look, the servant sees something that makes his voice shake with excitement. A cloud as small as a man's hand is rising from the sea. That tiny cloud holds the promise. Elijah sends word to Ahab to hurry down the mountain before the rain stops him. The sky turns black with clouds and wind, as if 3 years of storms arrived together. Heavy rain begins to fall. The drought that turned the land to stone finally breaks, with heaven's own tears of joy. Ahab races his chariot down the mountain. But the Spirit of the Lord comes upon Elijah with power beyond human understanding. He runs ahead of Ahab's horses all the way to the city gates. How does a man outrun horses? The same power that sends fire from heaven gives strength to tired human legs. The rain washes the scorched earth. Where fire consumed the stones, new life will grow from the cleansed and fertile ground. The people remember what they witnessed. They saw fire fall from heaven and consume what water could not protect. They saw stones themselves devoured by flames that answered one man's simple prayer. They learned that drought can end. Sometimes the answer to our deepest need comes after we choose who we will serve. The religious leaders fled when fire fell. Their power, built on fear, crumbled like the stones the holy fire consumed completely. But Elijah's God proved faithful to his special promise with Israel. Fire proved the truth. Rain confirmed the mercy that follows when hearts turn back to what is right. Do you think Elijah was afraid when he challenged so many? The mountain still remembers that day when heaven touched earth with consuming fire. The stones may be gone, but their story remains. 12 stones for 12 tribes, consumed together in one moment of divine truth. The rain that followed washed more than dust. It washed away 3 years of doubt, bringing hope back to a thirsty land. Some say you can still find the spot. The ground there grows differently, marked forever by the fire that fell from heaven. What marks has God left in your own story? Elijah showed that one person standing for truth can change the course of nations. His trust in God overcame impossible odds. Fire answered when water should have prevented any flame from starting. Rain came from a cloud no bigger than a hand. These impossibilities became reality because someone dared to trust when everyone else doubted. The story of Mount Carmel echoes through time. It reminds us that truth will always defeat deception when we dare to take a stand. Fire and water both served God's purpose that day on the mountain. One consumed the offering of faith, while the other restored life to the land. Perhaps the greatest miracle wasn't the fire or rain. What if the real miracle was hearts turning back to find their way home?